Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty wild idea. What if love isn't just a feeling we have? What if it's actually a fundamental force of physics, the literal blueprint for the entire universe? Yeah, let's get into it. So let's start with a question that seems, super simple. Is love just a feeling? We've all felt it. It's that powerful, warm thing we feel for people, for pets, for ideas. But what if that experience is just the tip of a colossal iceberg? The source material we're digging into today offers a really radical alternative. It suggests that love isn't just some random byproduct of evolution or a fleeting chemical reaction in our brains. No, it proposes that love is the actual structural code for reality itself, an organizing frequency that holds the entire cosmos together. To even begin to wrap our heads around this, we can't start out in space or in philosophy. We have to start with that incredible, powerful engine right there in your chest, your heart. Okay, so let's ground this with a hard scientific fact. Research, a lot of it, from places like the Heart Math Institute shows that the electrical field generated by your heart is about 60 times stronger than the electrical activity of your brain. Just let that sink in for a second. 60 times. So what does that mean? Well, it basically flips our whole understanding of ourselves upside down. We tend to think of the brain as the big boss, the command center, right? But from an energy perspective, the heart is the real powerhouse. It's our primary transmitter, constantly broadcasting this incredibly powerful signal out into the world. And that rhythmic signal it's sending out, it's not random. The source calls this idea fractal consciousness. Now, if you think of a fractal, it's like a fern leaf, where every tiny little piece of the leaf looks exactly like the whole thing. The idea here is that the simple repeating pulse of your heart is a tiny echo of a much, much larger universal rhythm. It's our most fundamental link to the pattern of the entire cosmos.
Okay, so if our heart is a powerful transmitter, what determines the quality of the signal it's sending out? Well, according to this framework, the answer is actually pretty simple. It's all about our emotions.
You see, when we experience these positive, unifying emotions, things like love, gratitude, real compassion, our heart enters a state that scientists call heart coherence. And this isn't just a nice feeling. It generates a powerful, orderly, and literally measurable electromagnetic wave. This signal is so clear and strong, it can actually be detected by the nervous systems of the people standing near you. Wild, right? But on the flip side, what about emotions that come from a place of separation? Things like fear, anger, division? Well, they do the exact opposite. They create a chaotic, erratic, and inefficient energy pattern. It's what's known as entropic. It basically just moves toward disorder and decay. It's like static on a radio, a signal that's just carrying noise and confusion. But love, within this framework, is something else entirely. It's a measurable, structural force. It creates a coherent, highly efficient energy pattern. It's organized, it's self-similar, meaning that pattern repeats itself perfectly at every single scale, from the microscopic to the cosmic. It is the clear signal of harmony and order. And here's where the source material makes its most fascinating, mind-bending claim. It argues that this coherent pattern of love isn't just a nice metaphor for order. It suggests that the wave pattern itself aligns perfectly with the fundamental geometric principles of creation, things you might have heard of before, like the golden ratio and the Fibonacci sequence. And we see this mathematical signature literally everywhere. It's in the number of petals on a flower, it's in the spirals of a pine cone, it's even in the shape of entire galaxies. This recurring, efficient pattern is what the source identifies as the signature of the source, the fundamental code of all creation. So we've seen this dynamic of chaos versus coherence on a cosmic scale and on a biological scale, but how does this actually show up in our own minds, in our day-to-day lives? Well, the source defines the ego as the part of us that's running on this illusion of separation. It's that voice in our head that's constantly telling us we are a separate self, cut off from everything else, and that we have to fight and struggle to control our reality just to survive. And it's this belief that creates these repeating cycles, or what the source calls fractal loops, in our lives. So how do you break out of those painful loops? You'd think the answer would be to fight them harder, to control them more. But the key is actually the exact opposite. It's to embrace presence. Real love, as the mentor in the source material puts it, is all about aligning with what is, instead of trying to force and control what the ego wants. This means those recurring challenges in your life, they aren't punishments. They're actually opportunities.
through the universe trying to get your attention. The path to breaking these loops is to first just recognize the pattern, then to observe it with awareness, without judgment, then to let go of your attachment to the outcome, and finally, to integrate the wisdom that pattern was trying to teach you all along.
And this brings us to the real climax of this whole idea, the part where we connect the coherence of one individual human heart directly to the grand, sweeping architecture of the entire cosmos.
According to this perspective, love isn't something that just showed up after the universe was created. It's the prerequisite. It's the foundational blueprint, the organizing principle that allows a coherent universe to even exist in the first place. Without it, there would only be chaos.
This connecting idea is called the fractal bridge. It's the concept that there is a direct, resonant link between the frequency you are broadcasting from your heart and the fundamental patterns of the universe. Your personal state of coherence directly mirrors and even influences universal coherence.
This chart really synthesizes the whole thing beautifully. Let's just walk through it. Down at the bottom, in the world of physical form and space-time, we experience the ego, that illusion of separation. The Source links this to a kind of holographic projection of reality. But as we move up into a state of love and heart coherence, we start to align with the actual geometry of consciousness itself, that golden ratio spiral. And at the highest level, pure awareness, our essence, connects us directly to the universal source, which is a pattern of infinite, repeating creation. And this just reframes the entire idea of personal growth, doesn't it? It stops being a selfish act. In a fractal universe, your inner work is, literally, a technical fix for the whole system. By consciously tuning your own heart's frequency to coherence, you are actively helping to stabilize and harmonize our collective reality. Which brings us completely full circle. The grand journey outward to understand the cosmos, to find the source of everything, it doesn't end in some distant galaxy. It ends right back where it all began, inside of you. The Source leaves us with this powerful thought. The universe is the ultimate technology, right? And its operating system isn't some complex, impossible code. It's elegant, it's simple, and it's incredibly powerful. Its operating system is love. Which leaves all of us with a final, really provocative question to think about. If your heart is truly broadcasting a signal 60 times more powerful than your brain, a signal that is actively shaping the reality around you, what signal are you sending out into the world right now?